Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Phil and I'm a senior lecturer in astrophysics at the University of Lincoln. Now I've had a request to do a video on the Millennium Simulation, which is a cosmological simulation. It's kind of quite old now actually, but it was to kind of explain what it's actually showing, I suppose what its purpose is, what we're actually seeing from that Millennium Simulation. So despite it being quite old now, it's still very useful for understanding kind of like the large scale structure of the universe and also mapping that out to observations that we've taken as well. So just to kind of put it into context then, this is a cosmological simulation of the universe's evolution. So the idea really being that it kind of goes through, the evolutionary history of the universe from the Big Bang to present day. And the idea really being, can we match the simulation to our observations or the other way around? And if they do, then we understand kind of the underlying physics, mechanism, processes there that lead to our structures that we can see now. So we've got kind of the timeline of the universe there from Big Bang all the way up to present day. So we start out kind of with real hot super particles, and then we end up with kind of larger scale structure like galaxies, galaxy clusters, and those galaxy clusters also make even bigger structures. They're like nodes and filaments in the big universe. So the actual simulation itself then, it used about 10 billion dark matter particles. So it didn't really consider other types of particles, it only really considered dark matter. And the key thing here really is that they are only interacting through gravity. So there's no other physics involved there. It's just the gravitational forces of those individual particles, and then that's allowed to evolve to see what sort of structures form from that. So 10 million particles, so it's not million, 10 billion. And from someone who has run fairly large simulations quite a bit in my past, my own research, I can tell you now that 10 billion particles is quite a significant simulation, and that needs some significant computing power. And this was done years and years ago. So at the time, this was a really large simulation. Now it's not modeling, the entire universe. It's modeling kind of a cubic region of the universe, which is about 2 light years on one side. So take a cube of the universe, and the scale for that's about 2 billion light years. That's what it's modeling, and it's then going to, evolve through time, basically, with that. So as we mentioned at the very beginning, it's kind of going from the Big Bang, so the very early time frame of the universe, all the way up to present day. And we can talk about that in age, so years after the Big Bang, or we can talk about it as redshift. So present day universe is a redshift 0. If we go further back, we can go to like thousands of redshift as we approach the Big Bang, or we can kind of do it in years. So it could be in billions of years, which are current present day time of the universe is, all the way back to 0 time essentially. So it's modeling that evolution of the universe from start to current time, present day. So the main aim was to investigate large scale structures. So it wasn't really aimed at looking at how the stars form in galaxies, maybe the individual galaxy formation. It was more about the very large scale structure. So things like filaments, these thin like thread-like structures. Well, I say thin thread-like structures, these are still enormous structures in the universe, but you can see you've got these kind of filaments. You've got voids. Now voids are areas that have lower density or lack of material compared to the average universe density. So that's essentially what a void is. And actually some of the biggest structures in the universe are voids, which are absent of material, really. We've also kind of got galaxy clusters. So depending on how that dark matter actually clusters, that impacts how the galaxies then form. So the idea was then to see how galaxies cluster themselves, because that's what we can actually see when we look out and make our own observations. So on the left there, you've got it from the simulation, and on the right, you've got a nice image of a large galaxy cluster as well. It also was looking at the cosmic web. So if you kind of zoom out to very large scales, all of these large scale structures in the universe, they make together this cosmic web. And you can kind of see here, this is a snapshot from the simulation. And it does look like a bit of a web, very large scale, so we call it like the cosmic web. But we do also see that in our observations. If we map out where the galaxy clusters are, where the galaxies are, we get a similar sort of structure. So all of that, as we mentioned, forms pretty much to how the gravity is working. So the matter in the universe is going to cluster with gravity. If there's any some slight perturbations, slight density differences in the very early universe, as the universe evolves and goes through time, expands, cools down, those slight density variations are going to be amplified, and you get these larger scale structures kind of forming from that. So very early universe, not long after the Big Bang, we might have those very small density fluctuations. It's not completely homogeneous, so it's not completely even. There will be slightly denser regions, slightly less dense regions, and they're not a lot, very, very small at the very beginning. But again, the simulation is there to try and investigate how those very small initial density fluctuations grow and what the impact of that would be in the present day. So those small density fluctuations, as the universe evolves, because it's a higher density, they're going to cause a clumping of the dark matter. You get your dark matter halos forming, so you start to get the growth of higher density regions of dark matter. We call those kind of dark matter halos, and they start out small, they continue to grow basically. And the interesting thing about, or the important thing I should say, about dark matter halos is that the galaxies typically form inside those. So they act as like a seed for galaxy formation. So whilst we can't really monitor the dark matter halos that easily in the real universe, we can observe the galaxies quite well. And we know that galaxies likely form in these dark matter halos because we've got lots of evidence kind of backing that up. Things like rotation curves of your disk galaxies, other kind of kinematic details as well, and other gravitational influences that suggest there's more matter there than we can actually see. So we expect that most galaxies have these dark matter halos, and they formed inside those. So it's important to understand the dark matter halos, how they form, how they evolve, because it links directly to the galaxies. They kind of co-form together. So those dark matter halos then start to cluster. That then means that you get galaxy clusters. So you might end up with like a large dark matter halo in the center. You might have sub-halos around that. That could be a large galaxy in the center, and the sub-halos could then actually be satellite galaxies around that. But you zoom out to the bigger scale and you get clusters of dark matter halos. Again, that gives us our galaxy clusters as well. But the dark matter halos also kind of grow from mergers. So if you've seen some of my other videos about galaxy formation and things like that, then we know that galaxies themselves grow from mergers, but the dark matter halos also do the same thing. So again, they co-form, co-evolve together. So the dark matter halos, as they merge and grow, is going to directly impact the galaxy formation process as well. So again, we can essentially look at the simulation, and then we can look at the distribution of galaxies. So on the bottom here, what this basically is like a redshift survey of galaxies. So you're looking at the redshift, so we can calculate how far away it is by how redshifted the light is from that galaxy. And then you've got the angular position on the sky. So we can get almost a three-dimensional distribution of galaxies from observations. Now, as we go to higher redshift, it gets harder because they're further away, galaxies are fainter, but it does start to give us this kind of cosmic web, those filaments, those voids, and that then links us to our simulation. So the Millennium Simulation typically matches the present day distribution of galaxies relatively well. So it's a good way of kind of confirming how they might form and evolve, but it does predominantly just focus on the dark matter. But the dark matter form those dark matter halos, which then directly impact and co-form with the galaxies themselves. So it's a very important simulation, despite it being a relatively old one now. So thank you for watching. Now, if you enjoy the video, do consider becoming a member of the channel. There's extra videos in the member section, but it also helps support the channel. So thank you for watching.